你好，10年级. This is Dang Lao Shi again for another lesson of Chinese grammar. So let's just jump straight in. Our learning objectives today, we want to be able to say where we live and we want to be able to describe the place where we live. And we're going to do that by linking adjectives to nouns. There's a little trick I'm going to teach you in how to do that in Chinese. So let's get started. This character you've probably seen before, but let's just make sure you know it. This is pronounced zai, Z-A-I, fourth tone. Zai, zai. Now it means to be located. Also means in, on, at, or by, depending on the sentence that it's in. All right, zai. The context that we're going to be looking at zai today is here with this particular character, which again you may have seen before, you may not. These characters together are zhu, zai. Remember the ZH is a j sound, like in judge, zhu zai. And zhu zai means to live in or live by. Yeah? Zhu zai, live in. So let's have a look at a sentence. There's a sentence. That sentence says, 我住在英国. Yingguo, those last two characters there, that's one of the countries that we've learned before. Hopefully you remember what that means. 我住在英国 means I live in England. So the order of the words there in Chinese is exactly the same as the English. Yeah, there's no difference at all. There's no secrets here, no tricks. It's pretty simple. Yeah, 我住在英国, I live in England. So if you want to say I live in Australia, it's just 我住在澳大利亚. Okay, here's another example. This is true for everybody who lives here in Coffs Harbour. 我住在海边. 我住在海边, which just is I live by the seaside. So you can see here that the 在, we translate that in English here as by rather than in. We've got multiple prepositions there, but in Chinese you just need the one. Yeah, 我住在海边, I live by the seaside. Can you remember how you would say this particular sentence? I live in the countryside. Do you remember how to say countryside? Hopefully you do. Here are the characters. 我住在农村. 我住在农村. I live in the countryside. Okay, so to ask our question where, like where do you live, we need the question word where, obviously. And that's pronounced nar in Chinese. It's got an at the end, nar. And the characters look like that. Yeah, na. The first one is na, and the second one is So put them together and you get nar. Now that's actually the Beijing dialect from northern China, that word nar. In other parts of China, they say nali for where. I'm teaching the northern dialect, that's the one that I speak. Okay, so nar means where. Our question for where do you live looks like this. First thing I want you to notice is the question word comes at the end. So it's different to English, but actually very logical. When we look at the structure of the question and the answer, you'll see this. It's got the substitution pattern that we see all the time. It's actually super easy to use. So our translation of this question into English is where do you live? But let's look at it character by character to see how the shape works. So this is 你住在哪儿? So this is the where, right? So character by character, you live in where? 你住在哪儿? And to answer that, you just keep the same order of the words. So, you live in where, I live in the city. 你住在哪儿? 我住在城市. Right, so it's a really simple substitution pattern. Yeah? It's just a slightly different shape to English, but once you get it, it's very easy to use. Let's have a look at some examples. So in our first example, here's our question. Yeah, 你住在哪儿? And this is a picture of the city. Hopefully you remember how to say city in Chinese. Here's how I'd answer this in the characters. And the pinyin, in case you've forgotten, that just says 我住在城市. I live in the city. Yeah, 我住在城市. Let's have a look at another one. 你住在哪儿? Where do you live? Based on that picture, here's our answer. And here's the pinyin. 我住在农村. 我住在农村. I live in the countryside. We'll do one more. Hopefully you'll recognize that picture. 你住在哪儿? And Here's our answer. And here's the pinyin. 我住在海边. I live by the seaside. Right? All pretty simple so far. There's no really tricky stuff there. That's not hard. This bit is slightly new. All right. So here's our new grammar rule. Right. And what we've got up here, we've got adjective, and then this sort of weird character thingy, and then noun. Okay. So this character is pronounced D, D-E, no tone. It's a neutral tone. All right. So we've got adjective plus D plus noun. This is one of those rules where this character here, this D, it doesn't actually mean anything here. It just fulfills a grammar function. It doesn't mean anything. You just have to use it. It's a bit like in English. We've got lots of places where words don't really mean anything. You just have to use them, especially when we ask questions. Like the question, "What do you want to eat?" The word "do" in that question doesn't mean anything. What do you want to eat? But it forms a grammatical function. It just makes it a question. Okay, so this "the" is kind of similar. It doesn't mean anything. We just have to use it. I'll give an example, and you'll be able to see sort of where we do it. So here we've got an adjective, 美丽. 美丽 just means beautiful. Here we've got our noun, 农村. Yeah, 农村 is countryside. And here we have 的, which doesn't mean anything. We just have to use it. So the phrase here, 美丽的农村, what does that mean? Well, it just means beautiful countryside. Okay. Why do we use the "the" in there? Well, because. This is one of those grammar questions. There's no answer for why. This is just how Chinese is spoken. What does the "de" mean? Nothing. When do we use it? Well, okay, that's a question I can answer. We use "de" when you've got an adjective which is 2 characters long. And 美丽 is 2 characters long. It also for adjectives that are more than 2 characters long. So when you've got a word which is 2 or more characters, that's an adjective, then you have to use "de." That's the rule. It's that simple. So 美丽的农村 just means beautiful countryside. All right, if you want to talk about beautiful seaside, all right, 美丽的海边. Again, you'd need the "的" because our adjective is 2 characters long. If you want to talk about a beautiful city, yeah, 美丽的城市. Okay, we just need the "的" there. Why? Well, because. So if we want to make the sentence, I live in beautiful countryside, how do we do that? Well, we use the structure that we just learned. And the sentence looks like that. 我住在美丽的农村. I live in beautiful countryside. That's our sentence. Let's have a look at a couple more examples. So here we've got 好吃. 好 means good, 吃 means eat. Together, 好吃 means tasty or delicious. 面条 are noodles. Now we can't just say 好吃面条. Why? Well, because 好吃 is 2 characters long. So we have to say 好吃的面条. What does it mean? It just means tasty noodles. 好吃的面条. Another example. So here we've got 汽车. 汽车, that's a mode of transport. Hopefully you remember that is car. And here we have 漂亮. 漂亮 is another way of saying beautiful or pretty. So 漂亮的汽车 simply means beautiful car. Again, we need the "的" because 漂亮 is 2 characters long. It's a 2 character adjective, so we need the "的." 漂亮的汽车. Okay, so let's have a look at these. So let's go back to our question. Right? So our question here is 你住在哪儿? Where do you live? And let's try and use this "的" in our answers. So same picture I used before. So our question is 你住在哪儿? Where do you live? This is the city, 城市. So the example that I've done, and there's more than one you could use. Here's the one that I've done though. Okay. Hopefully you recognize all of those characters. If you don't, here's some pinyin. So this sentence, 我住在很大的城市. So how have I described this city? Well, here's my adjective here. 很大. Hopefully remember that 很大 means very big. Okay, so together 很大 2 characters, so we need the 的. 很大的城市 is just a very big city. So the full sentence there is I live in a very big city. Let's have a look at our next example. Again, the same picture of our countryside. All right, 你住在哪儿? Where do you live? Here's the sentence I've used. That's you probably recognize it from before, I hope. There's our pinyin. 我住在美丽的农村. I live in the beautiful countryside. Okay, 美丽, beautiful, 农村 countryside, the in the middle. 美丽的农村. Okay, last one. Picture across harbour again. How have I modified that? I've said this. Okay, if you need some pinyin, there it is. 我住在漂亮的海边。漂亮的海边 beautiful seaside. Okay, 我住在 I live by 漂亮的海边 beautiful seaside. So you can see we've just taken our basic sentence and we've added one detail to give it a bit more complexity and to make the language a little bit richer. Now what I want you to do, you need to write out the new word live in or live by, and that's 住在. It's on this slide actually, if you'd like to copy it out. What you also have to do is write out the adjective grammar rule. Remember, that's where if you've got an adjective that is 2 characters or more long that modifies a noun, you need to use the character da. You can either go back to the spot in this video where I talk about it, or you can use the slides in the Google Classroom to find it and write that out. And also what I'd like you to do is write out the question below and answer it based on where you live. So here's our question, 你住在哪儿? Where do you live? 我住在, I live in. And I'd like you to write a sentence or two about Coffs Harbour, if you can, or wherever you live, if it's outside town. Awesome. So that's it for this presentation. There is some homework for week 2 of term 2, which I've posted in the classroom. It's based on this and the previous video. As always, so do that this week. As always, good luck with your studies. If you have any questions, please get in touch. I'll be more than happy to answer them. So this is Dang Lao Shi, and I'm going to say 再见大家.